Last week, the crypto market saw a series of bad news, beginning with Google announcing in the middle of the week that they will be banning cryptocurrency ads from June of this year. Twitter followed up a couple of days later with a similar announcement that they too will be banning cryptocurrency ads. At the same time as the Twitter announcement, Bittrex, the major exchange, announced that they will be removing over 80 altcoins from their exchange, most likely due to regulations. This series of bad news caused the Bitcoin price to crash from a price of 9,003 to 7,003 within 4 days. Fortunately, 36 hours ago, there was a turnaround with good news, and the G20 summit announced on the first day of their summit that cryptocurrency does not pose a risk to financial stability, and they had no plans to add new regulations. Following this good news, the market saw an impressive recovery yesterday with every coin in the green and most coins rising between 30 to 50%, even up to 95%. But where we are now is the positive price action is starting to slow down, and the question on everyone's mind is, are we headed towards a bull run or a bear run? And was the price rise completely due to G20 summit? Also, why did Ethereum crash so much harder than the other top coins? To answer these questions and more, please keep watching. Welcome back. My name is Dan from Cryptolite, and today I'll be bringing you the latest market updates as well as latest price predictions. First of all, I just want to start by saying it feels so good to do a crypto news update with good news. It feels like forever since we've had any good news, and over the past few months, the crypto space has seen a lot of scare about first talks of bans over cryptos from big players like China, India, and Korea, and then the introduction of new regulations from China, Korea, France, India, especially the US in February and March. And recently, the SEC launched a new set of regulations to crack down on exchanges and ICOs, and this has really caused the market on the whole to be hyper vigilant towards any news of regulations. We spoke about the G20 summit earlier and the good news that has come out of it. What we have to bear in mind is that the G20 is a 2-day summit with crypto agenda on both days. The second day news has not been released yet, but given the direction it's taken so far, the crypto community is certainly hoping for the best. G20 Summit is a meeting of world leaders in politics and finance who gather to discuss any major issues that could potentially disrupt the financial balance of the world, and then they try to prevent that by introducing regulations to control the situation. The scope of their meeting is literally anything under the sun, from global warming to cryptocurrency. But in their meeting on Monday, despite leading countries like Germany and France bringing the agenda of cryptocurrency to the table, the end conclusion was that cryptocurrency currently is worth less than 1% of the world's total GDP, so it's not a risk to financial stability at this point. So the G20 summit will review existing regulations, but they will not introduce new regulations. So this is awesome, and all of us can breathe a sigh of relief. Now, even though it was great news that came out from G20 summit, some people are asking, was that enough to cause such a massive price rise? To those who are new in crypto, a day like yesterday where literally every coin on the market was green with average gains of 40% in the top 100 and top gains of up to 95% in the market is not normal even in a bull run. So I think it is a fair question to ask if one piece of news alone was sufficient to account for the big rise. An alternative proposal to explain the rise in price comes from technical analysts. Technical analysts are explaining that the rise in price was predicted as Bitcoin approached the tip of the wedge, as you can see here. Also, it coincided nicely together with the bottom long that you see here, and together with the G20 news, it created a situation where all the stars aligned and caused a rare massive run. Another suggestion is that a high-profile news involving Kevin O'Leary announcing that he owns a ton of crypto and is also planning to get involved in the hotel business ICO has brought a lot of hype into the market. Kevin O'Leary is one of the sharks on Shark's Tank, so he's a celebrity who's also a well-known investor, so this certainly could have contributed to the positive price action. At the end of the day, it may have just been a combination of good news with technical analysis that caused the positive price action. Whatever it is, we are certainly grateful for it. Now remains the big question, where are we going to go from here? I'm going to take you through both technical analysis and the news, and there will be differing opinions for both. I'm not here to prophesy about what will happen, but rather to update you with all the different views out there as well as my own thoughts, and leave you to do your own further research and come to your own conclusion as to where the market is going to go from here. First off, a technical analysis predictions. There are so many different views out there. The bullish views include price predictions based on Fibonacci retracements or the Elliott wave curve, as you can see here. They believe that the last 2 days was wave 1 of the rising Elliott curve, and we should see Bitcoin rising to 11,000 USD at least. Another bullish predictor of Bitcoin is based on the fact that Bitcoin has been repeatedly testing the upper limit of the resistance line, indicating that perhaps the bears are losing momentum and the bull run is coming. So this graph also couples itself with the RSI and advises that in the last 2 years, the price rebounds sharply after the RSI enters the oversold territory. Therefore, we should look for an entry opportunity if the cryptocurrency plunges because of the panic selling. Bearish predictions include this trading analysis, which warns of the recent rise being a bull trap because we haven't actually hit the upper resistance line yet, and Sunday and Monday tend to be a small volume positive days, and Tuesday and Wednesdays are the big volume days that the price will drop. Bearish predictions here are in the range of 4,007 to 6,000. Just a side comment here, I thought Sunday was usually a red day, not a green day. But anyways, moving on. Another bearish prediction is the presence of whales or hedge funds luring people to buy at their sell prices and potentially dropping the price as we move closer to 9,000 or 8,700, which are major resistance lines. So what do I think? I think we're just guessing, to be honest. Personally, I've lost a bit of confidence in technical analysis in crypto in recent times for 3 reasons. Firstly, is the lack of volume. As we covered in our day trading video, a lot of trading analysis tools like the Elliott wave or Fibonacci resistance or retracements are based on the psychology of the masses. The larger the volume, the more likely it is to follow those trends. But if your volume is small, then other factors like big news or whale pumps and dumps affect the market price hugely. And at the moment, we don't have many investors in. Our trading volume is not huge. And so I think that we may not follow these trends as tightly as people hope for. And the second reason is that recently we've seen evidence of Mt. Gox's whale in the market. We've seen of how news like Google and Twitter banning ads affect the whole market regardless of the actual worth of the project. The whole crypto space is so driven by hype and FUD at the moment that trading analysis just seems almost pointless at some point, because you can do the perfect trading analysis and then some contrary news is released the next day and the whole market goes against your prediction. And lastly, the whole market is divided even in terms of technical analysis predictions. And if the experts themselves can't have a consensus opinion, what hope do I have of making any sense of the current market technical analysis? So for all these reasons, personally, these days I put much less weight on technical analysis, but I still check it just in case there is a strong consensus opinion out there. But this is just my personal opinion. You guys need to form your own opinions about these matters and become the best investors that only you can be. So moving on from technical analysis, we're now going to look at the news, and there are both good news and bad news in the crypto space recently that could potentially affect the market. This time, let's start with the bad news. Wall Street bank Morgan Stanley likens Bitcoin to dot-com bust. Morgan Stanley compared an accelerated timeline for Bitcoin's performance to the dot-com era, and you can see the graph here. The time frames are different, but the actual graph seems eerily similar to a certain point, which is here. But then where the comparison falls apart is after our recent lowest point, which was the 6th of February Bitcoin 6,000 price, we rose and are sort of making a recovery, while Nasdaq's price just seemed to tank in history. But then again, a lot of these graph plotters do hold some truth to the predicted pattern of technical analysis. That's why people believe in things like the Elliott curve. So perhaps when we did have a bigger volume in January, in December, okay, our trading volume in terms of Bitcoin seemed to follow that of the masses, or that of Elliott wave kind of prediction, which is why we kind of coincided with the Nasdaq. But then recently, as our volume just kind of fell and we kind of no longer follow those patterns as closely, then we begin to see the splitting of pattern between Bitcoin from Nasdaq. So maybe this coinciding of pattern is really because the volume kind of coincided with the mass psychology behind it, but not really because of the crash that is coming. In fact, I think if you go through Bitcoin's own history, we have seen several similar graphs of rises and crashes, and I just don't think that it's predictive or prophetic of Bitcoin that we're going to crash like the .com. Another bearish article is India's Bitcoin trading volume plummets amid bank's blockade of exchanges. Now, this one I do find a bit concerning because they actually have statistics that there has been a 90% decline in volume of Bitcoin trading platforms in India. Now, India's central bank has not put a hammer down on trader accounts, but the Indian banks have taken a two-pronged approach that's denting trading activity, including closing Bitcoin exchange accounts and limiting cryptocurrency transactions among locals. So blockchain and cryptocurrency industry trade group representatives in India consider the latest action by banks as blatant overreach without any instructions from regulators, saying without any clear mandate either from the RBI or other regulators, asking us to close down our exchange accounts while refusing to give in writing what the reason is just disruptive to our business. Meanwhile, this has also led to a lot of confusion and angst among investors. Bitcoin exchanges are having to manage an influx of user complaints on their trading platforms amid traders not being able to access funds for days or more. It's a function of the banks freezing the accounts of these exchanges, which has tied the latter's hands for issuing withdrawals. So it's kind of bad news. Earlier this year, we saw Korea's trade volume being discounted from CoinMarketCap, and on that day, we saw a 20% drop in all crypto prices almost immediately. Now, India's contribution is not as big as the market share of Korea, but it's still substantial as an entire nation. And if their trade volume has dropped to 10%, so 90% gone, that's effectively as good as taking out their previous presence in the market. And that's going to hurt crypto prices on the whole. One last piece of bad news, and this isn't about the whole market, just poor Ethereum and why it's been tanking super hard compared to the other coins. It's been revealed that EOS, the number 9 coin on the market, has been dumping Ether. They moved 417,000 Ether tokens recently, of which 163,000 have been sold on Bitfinex. Why they did it, no one knows. Some speculate they ran out of fiat and had to cash in to pay their staff, but 163,000 Ether token sales seems a bit excessive. Others speculate that it was to buy their own token, which is why EOS is one of the big gainers today, with gains still in the double digits. The truth is no one really knows, but we do know that they are dumping and they chose the time of a market crash to do it. So are they trying to drag Ethereum down? It's all very interesting. Keep an eye on this space, and I'm sure there will be more follow-up on this news soon. So is there any good news out there? Yes, there is. Israel regulators, utility tokens shouldn't be deemed securities. The Israel Securities Authority is recommending lenient regulations for initial coin offerings, including a clear definition of what separates a so-called utility token from a security. According to the ISA report, a utility token that confers usage right in a product or service offered by a specific venture shouldn't necessarily be deemed a security. Many blockchain advocates welcome the Israelis' regulator stance. Amintay Molko, co-founder of Jerusalem-based network group Blockchain JLM, told CoinDesk, the Israeli regulators are showing that they are taking this very seriously and fairly. This is the first step in the right direction. The report is now in the hands of ISA chair Annette Gouet, who will decide how to proceed with unique security regulations for the cryptocurrency space. So it's good news with more lenient regulations proposed. It's only a proposal at this stage, but the market, as I said, is so hypersensitive to regulations at this point that even such news can be considered good news. Next piece of good news, the US Congress releases extraordinary report praising cryptocurrency and blockchain technology. Wow, this is the last place on earth I expected good news from, but it is true. The US Congress just released its massive joint report on the state of economy, and for the first time, an entire chapter is dedicated to cryptocurrency. What's even more extraordinary is the number of bullish statements or sentiments on the future of the emerging technology. There are snippets of the report in this article, but some of the headings include, as you can see here, blockchain looks like the new internet. Cryptocurrencies could outshine government fiat. Blockchain is secure and efficient. Blockchain may transform many industries. Wow, I had to check other websites to confirm this article was not a joke. It's like a 300 or 180-degree change of attitude from the US. At a crucial time when we're still waiting to hear their verdict towards ICO, such good news is really a booster. So there you go. There are good news and bad news affecting the whole market. There are also other big news on the market, including Stellar integrating Lightning Network, and MasterCard announcing it will consider the use of cryptocurrency, but only those that are produced and supported by governments, which is kind of strange and defeats the purpose of decentralized cryptos anyways. But the reason I'm not focusing on those news and focusing really on national level news in this post about bull versus bear market is because ultimately, if we want to see a bull market, what needs to happen at this point is that new money, new investors need to come into the crypto space. So crypto specific news like Stellar integrating Lightning makes me really happy as an investor, but I don't see it doing the same for someone who is not an investor yet and doesn't understand the project yet. But government and big bank attitudes towards crypto will affect mass adoption, at least in the short to medium term. Okay, in the very, very long term, it's the tech that will count, right? Blockchain technology is so game-changing that the world cannot ignore it. At some point, whether the government and banks like it or not, blockchain will be an integral, permanent part of society. It's going to be the next game changer, like how internet or emails were a game changer in their times. So in the very, very long term, some things like Stellar adopting Lightning Network for scalability, core tech stuff that increases the true worth of a project will be valuable. But when we're talking about the next few weeks or next few days to next few months, what will really affect the price will depend on how much or whether or not government and banks will allow people to make their own choices and get into crypto easily, or whether they are going to try and strangle and scare investors away. Do I personally think we are headed towards a bull or a bear? I don't really know, to be honest. Okay, the news at the moment is sitting kind of 50-50. You got about equal number of positive news as well as negative news. Okay, I think a lot will depend on what the news comes out of the second day of the G20 summit, if any. Okay, if we look at technical analysis, which again, I don't put that much emphasis on these days, okay, but we are sitting just under 8,600, which is a very good price point because we are about to test the resistance of 8,700 and 9,000 again. Okay, I'm a big fan of RSIs, okay, and as you can see, the RSI is quite low at the moment. We still got a lot of room to go up, so we're definitely not oversold. If we still maintain pretty low RSIs by the time we hit the resistance line, then I think there is a good chance that we could cross it and at least go up to the next upper resistance line, which is in the 11,000s. Now, would I buy into crypto at the current prices? Fortunately for me, this is all hypothetical because I actually don't have much fiat left to put in the market. But if I had 20,000, I would probably stagger buy, meaning I would buy maybe 1,000 worth every day for the next 10 days so I can get an average purchase. And I will hold back about 50% just in case the market tanks more because there is a part of me that does feel that that might actually happen. And also because as an investor, I don't really like investing in the highs. I feel a lot more confident buying in the red. In the long term, if it does tank, I'll be a bit sad that I did invest 50% around this price and missed out on a better deal. But either ways, I don't think it will stay at these low prices forever, not even a month. So I believe in blockchain enough to believe that in the long term, I can just hodl at these prices and still make a gain eventually. But I will openly admit that the current market is so unpredictable, I'm not really confident of my own choices at this point and I could be wrong. And these are just my own thoughts and opinion. I'm not a financial advisor and this is not financial advice. So please always do your own homework and make your own decisions. Alright guys, that's it for me. Thank you for following this long train of thought about the current market. Do drop a comment below and let us know whether you think whether we are going into a bull or bear market. And I guess we'll find out soon over the next few days. Well, have a great day wherever you are. It's a green day in crypto. Treat it like you would a good day in life. Have a glass of champagne and celebrate it with a friend. Tomorrow will bring whatever tomorrow will bring, but let's enjoy each day as it comes. If you like this video, please give us a like and a subscribe so you don't miss out any of our content. Otherwise, take care guys and we will catch you tomorrow.